The knock came at 2:17 a.m., not the polite kind. Not the kind you expect from a neighbor who forgot their keys. It was desperate, uneven, almost trembling. I remember staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding before my mind even caught up. Nobody brings good news at 2:17 in the morning. When I opened the door, I saw him, my best friend. The one who used to laugh the loudest in every room. The one who once swore nothing in this world could break him. He looked broken. His hoodie was soaked from the rain, his hands were shaking, his eyes were red, not from sleep, but from something much heavier. He didn't greet me, he didn't explain. He just swallowed hard and said, almost like a child afraid of being scolded, "Can I stay here tonight?" Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing by the people you love when the world turns its back on them, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this matter because they remind us who we are. I stepped aside without hesitation. We had been best friends since we were 10. We grew up in the same narrow streets, played football under broken streetlights, and dreamed about becoming men who would conquer the world. Back then, our biggest fear was failing a math test. We had no idea life would hand us tests with no right answers. He walked in slowly, as if every step carried invisible weight. The house felt smaller that night. The silence felt louder. I handed him a towel, but he barely reacted. He just stood there, water dripping onto my floor, staring at nothing. I didn't ask questions right away. Sometimes people don't need interrogation, they need space. He finally sat down on the edge of my couch and buried his face in his hands. I noticed bruises on his knuckles. His breathing wasn't steady. It was the kind of breathing you hear after someone has been holding themselves together for far too long. 3 months earlier, he had everything I thought I wanted. A stable job, a small apartment downtown, a relationship that seemed unshakable. He used to tell me I worried too much, that life wasn't as complicated as I made it. But life has a cruel way of humbling certainty. He lost his job first. The company downsized. He didn't tell anyone how scared he was. He smiled through it, said he'd find something better. Weeks turned into months. Savings disappeared. Interviews led nowhere. The confidence that once defined him began to crack. Then his girlfriend left. Not with drama, not with screaming. Just quiet disappointment. She said she needed stability, she needed security, she needed someone who wasn't drowning. He never told me how much that sentence hurt. That night, sitting in my living room, he finally whispered the truth. He had nowhere else to go. Rent was overdue. His landlord had given him until midnight. Pride had kept him silent for weeks. But pride doesn't keep you warm when the rain is falling and the door closes behind you. I looked at him and felt something heavy settle in my chest. Not pity, something deeper. The realization that the strongest person I knew was asking for shelter. I gave him my bed and took the couch. He protested weakly, but exhaustion won. Within minutes, he was asleep, if you can call that restless, shallow breathing sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling again, but this time I wasn't alone with my thoughts. I was thinking about how fragile success really is. How quickly everything can unravel. How thin the line is between, I'm fine and I need help. The next morning, reality felt sharper. He avoided eye contact, tried to act normal, tried to make jokes, but every laugh sounded forced. I knew him too well. Days turned into a week turned into 2. He kept saying it was temporary. He kept sending out resumes, making calls, attending interviews. I watched him leave every morning with forced determination and return every evening with a little less of it. The hardest part wasn't the financial stress. I could handle groceries. I could handle bills. The hardest part was watching him shrink. The man who once stood tall now walked as if apologizing for taking up space. I struggled too. I work long hours. My job barely covers my own expenses. Adding another person, even someone I love like a brother, meant sacrifices. I started skipping small comforts, canceled plans, picked up extra shifts. I didn't tell him. I didn't want him to feel like a burden, but sometimes, late at night, I felt the pressure building. What if this didn't change? What if he never recovered? What if helping him meant losing my own stability? Then I would remember that knock at 2:17 a.m. I would remember the look in his eyes, and I would know I'd make the same choice again. One evening I came home earlier than usual and found him sitting alone in the dark. The curtains were drawn. The room felt heavy. He didn't notice me at first. He was staring at his phone screen, scrolling through old photos. Photos of who he used to be. That's when I understood the real battle wasn't about money or employment. It was about identity, about worth, about the terrifying question of who you are when everything you built disappears. He started talking more after that night. Not in dramatic confessions. In small pieces. He told me how ashamed he felt walking past former coworkers, how he avoided calls from family, how he hated depending on someone else. I told him something I had never said out loud before. Years ago, when my father left, I felt the same shame, the same fear of being less than. I told him how I had almost dropped out of college because I didn't think I deserved better. I told him about the nights I cried quietly so no one would hear. For the first time in weeks he looked at me, not through me. Something shifted. Healing doesn't arrive like fireworks. It arrives quietly, in shared meals, in late-night conversations, in someone reminding you that your worst moment is not your whole story. He started waking up earlier, running in the mornings, cooking dinner to contribute, in some way, small actions but powerful ones. They said, "I'm still here, I'm still trying." Then came the call. I was at work when my phone buzzed. It was him. I stepped outside, my heart racing. His voice sounded different, not overly excited, but steady. He had been offered a contract position, not glamorous, not permanent, but a start. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. Relief flooded through me, not because the financial pressure might ease, but because I heard something else in his voice. Hope. That night, we didn't celebrate with anything fancy, just takeaway food and quiet gratitude. But the air felt lighter. The contract wasn't easy. Long hours, demanding tasks. He came home exhausted, but there was purpose in his exhaustion now. Within 3 months, they extended his position. Within 6, they offered him something permanent. The day he told me he could afford his own place again, my heart felt both proud and strangely sad. I had grown used to his presence, to the late-night talks, to knowing he was in the next room. He packed slowly, not because he didn't want to leave, but because we both understood something unspoken. This wasn't just about a place to sleep. It was about a night when pride stepped aside and friendship stepped forward. On his last night in my apartment, we sat quietly, remembering the beginning. The rain, the knock, the silence. He admitted that when he stood outside my door that night, he almost walked away. He almost chose the street over vulnerability. He thought asking for help meant losing dignity. But he said something I'll never forget. He said staying here didn't just give him shelter, it gave him back his belief that he mattered. Now, if this story has touched you in any way, if it reminded you of someone you love or a moment when you needed help, please take a second to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement helps stories of compassion reach people who might be standing outside someone's door tonight, unsure if they should knock. And before we reach the end, I want to ask you something simple but powerful. Comment the word here if you believe in being there for the people who matter most. Sometimes a single word can be a promise. He moved out the next morning. The apartment felt quieter than it had in months, but it didn't feel empty. A week later, I found an envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a handwritten letter. He thanked me, not for the bed, not for the food, but for treating him like he wasn't broken. He wrote that the night he asked to stay, he thought he had reached the lowest point of his life. What he didn't know was that sometimes rock bottom isn't the end. It's the place where real friendships prove themselves. Years have passed since that knock at 2:17 a.m. He's doing well now, stable career, stronger heart, a deeper understanding of what truly matters. And every once in a while, when life feels overwhelming, one of us will text the other a simple sentence. Can I stay here tonight? Not because we need a couch, but because we both know what it means. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that strength isn't about never falling, but about having someone who helps you stand again, please engage with this video. Like it, share it, and tell someone you appreciate them today. You never know who might be fighting a silent battle behind a brave face, because sometimes the most life-changing words aren't dramatic speeches. Sometimes they're just 4 quiet words in the middle of the night. Can I stay here tonight? And sometimes the most powerful answer isn't spoken. It's the sound of a door opening,